veterinarians, we need to be bold like this, and it's a bit of like culture change, if you will. You know?
Totally.
So we could get on soapboxes on that, but I guess
we can. I mean, Dr. Foote, you have so much great insight, and if you'd be open to it, I'd be happy to do another podcast in the future. Let's see if we can squeeze in one fan question, because I think that's all the time we have for now. Earlier, you were talking a lot about cats because on my behalf, but this question comes from Rochelle. She wants to know, what's the best way to help an insecure dog be less fearful and be more sociable?
So more sociable, less fearful. First thing is you need to identify all the situations that dog is showing those signs of fear and anxiety. And then, so what we say is first identify your triggers. That's what we call a trigger. So let's just say, for example, the dog is kind of timid and scared when people come into your home. You're having, a football game, watching on TV party, and the dog gets nervous when people come in your home to watch TV. Well, you really have to break everything down in baby steps and say, okay, when does he first start like turning his ears back or looking away or licking his lips? And it may be like watch him first of all one time, and it may be from the ding dong on the doorbell to the door opening to the people walking through to taking their coats off and people talking. So really for that dog, there's like 7 things. So then from that, how anxiety or fear is managed, or term counter condition, change the condition, is you say, can we eliminate some of the triggers? Because that will reduce the anxiety, and from that then you can build on that, really take a reward and get the happy memory. So can we eliminate a trigger? Can we reduce the trigger, make it not as intense? And then lastly, for what triggers still have to be present, like somebody walking through your door is going to have to walk through your door. They're not going to climb in the window. So you might eliminate ringing the doorbell when friends come over, right? You might just say, text me on the phone and I'll open the door, But we need to then, if the dog is less agitated, then we need to have the dog in a place far away that he's able to take the reward. And so that's the thing that a lot of people may not understand, is that there's also this distance of, how before you hit that threshold of there's so much fear that they will not take a reward, they're shut down, and then they can escalate actually up to aggression. So distance away from that trigger is important to figure out. And then, so let's say we have the dog tethered or behind a baby gate 10 feet away from your front door. You would do some practice sessions of just opening the door and throwing to your dog, hot dogs or a treat, or maybe having something like the treat and train that you're clicking on remote that he can eat, okay, because he's able to eat there 10 feet away. But if you had him at 3 feet away, he wouldn't, because he's too close. It's too scary. So you have to break it down to these baby steps. You have to identify what are all the situations. Now, for some animals, there are so many different things happening every day that it actually gets into a chronic anxiety. And chronic anxiety is basically when they're spending more than 50 or 75% of their time worried or anxious about something. And with chronic anxiety, that's just kind of a chronic, literally grating on the brain and on the body to reduce the brain chemistry. So they can't, train. And that's when people say, I tried it, it didn't work. I tried it, it didn't work. All right, time to get together with a veterinarian and behaviorist, whether they're one person like me or 2 together, because we're going to need some support for the body to create better brain chemistry so they can learn. And that may be through medication, it may be through supplements, maybe through some of the pheromone products. That's for your veterinarian. And then lastly, there are some other medical problems that can make it harder or actually drain the brain of also good brain chemistry. And one of that is chronic pain. So when we have some of these 10-year-old dogs, who have low-grade arthritis in their spine, they're able to get around, but it's kind of, they do that stop and think, before they stand up, and stop and think before they jump on the couch, And they're not on any, say, joint supplement or medication because we didn't get in that conversation with our veterinarian. Hey, he's slower to do this, or he's not playing ball. That chronic pain, actually drains the brain of the serotonin and L-DOPA and some of the other brain chemicals that are also involved in mood and learning. So it may seem surprising to some people when I get presented with an older dog who now is very afraid of, say, thunderstorms and wasn't so much a few years ago. And I say, listen, he's got, this arthritis problem, so we're going to get him on pain relief, and say pain relievers that also help to increase this good brain chemistry. We're not going to go to Prozac. We're not going to go to some of these other drugs first. And the dog greatly improves. I'll say, well, he had both going on. But his reflection, part of his reflection of his body pain and body inflammation was affecting his behavior. So I guess it's a long answer to your question.
No. It's still like, I mean, it might be longer than like a quick fix that people are expecting, but I think that's kind of the whole theme, right? You shouldn't be looking for the quick fixes, and you should be evaluating, I didn't want to say researching, but just looking into all possible avenues from the perspective of the pet, too. That's something that you said earlier in this call. You know, as humans, we want to be good owners, we care, we love our pets, but that type of perspective is quite limiting, and you're not going to get the most for your pet by looking at it only from that view.
Environment, you know, what's going on in the world around them, their own body, their own selves, and then like just their past life experiences. That's what always comes together in their life, whether we're talking about their behavior or even their physical health. You know, like an old injury, like a dog who was hit by a car at age 3 is going to have some physical effect now at age 10 because of that old injury, you know.